And we're back for another episode of the Huge Boob Corner. And today my guest is, I gotta say, probably the bustiest gamer on Twitch. Like, maybe not. I can't see somebody being bustier, but you know, very, very lovely. And I'm super excited to have her here. So I want to welcome Charlotte to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep in the past 48 hours.
Yeah,
so.
well, I saw. I think your post this morning because you had to be up at like 4.
Well, no, we didn't go to sleep because like 4 a.m. is usually when we go to bed. So we're like, oh, we'll sleep on the plane and it'll be. But then they were like, oh, we're making the time in great time, so the flight's half an hour shorter than it was supposed to be. And I was like, I could have used that extra half an hour of sleep. But
yeah. Well, but hey, I mean, it's. I'll say this with air travel being as complicated as it is right now, getting in early, I feel like is almost is a super, you know.
I mean, we specifically chose a flight with no layovers because I hate airports. I don't want to be in them. The least amount of time I have to be in an airport, the better.
Well, and also when you have to worry about connections, it's like you gotta like, you know, if you're going to be on time to be able to make it and miss it. Whereas if you're just doing direct, it's just you got one flight you got to worry about, and then so. But yeah, no. So it's so exciting because I love how just, you know, the universe brought us together for this because you're here for Twitchcon, and it just happened to be on a time where we could come together, and this is your first in-person podcast. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that you're here. So have you been to Vegas before?
I've been to Vegas. I came to AVN in, oh God, I can't remember what year. I think I was 21. So 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I had a friend from Vegas who moved in with me. And so I came to Vegas to bring her stuff and her cat over to our apartment in the Midwest. And we came to Vegas, I think the year before COVID, for just for New Year's with a friend.
Yeah. Because I don't know how big do you think TwitchCon is going to be? It looks like it's going to be pretty big.
It said sold out. I have no idea how many tickets they sold, but it said sold out. So I'm assuming it's going to be packed.
Yeah, because you're going to be at the West Halls at the convention centers. There's 3 different ones. There's the North, there's the South, and then there's West. And I think West are the largest one. But I mean, you got to be excited about that because that's a different. Because I mean, AVN and you know, it's going to be a different kind of crowd.
Yeah, totally different crowd. That's the thing. Like I've never been to a gaming convention. I've never been to a social media convention. I've been going to anime conventions and comic conventions.
Okay, so those are
my whole life. But TwitchCon is like nothing. Like I don't expect it to be like those. So I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, because it's interesting because you know, you've only just started doing Twitch. So you've been doing it for how long?
5 months on the 12th.
Okay. And so, now you've been camming before this.
Yeah, I started camming a month after I turned 20, so 11 years or 12 years. Yeah.
So you're a cam veteran then.
Yeah. I've been doing streaming for a long time, just not safe for work streaming.
Sure. So then what was it that made you decide to jump into that arena?
Well, I tried getting back into camming earlier this year, and it's just a totally different environment than what it was in 2015, and I just couldn't gain any traction without putting in like the amount of hours I'm putting into Twitch, and I just wasn't willing to do that on a site that, because like MFC ranks you by cam score, and if you just sit there with no tips, your cam score just tanks. So it was very discouraging. So I just focused on OnlyFans for a while, and then my spouse was working on this big project, and I was watching YouTube like 6 to 8 hours a day while they were working, and I was like, this is not a productive use of my time. Yeah. And they were like, well, you could try Twitch again, and so I just started getting on every day, and it worked out. Nice.
So then in your experience, then how was it different trying to go back to MFC now, or like, you know, more recently than it was when you started? Like, was it just people, like, was there more traffic going on to the site, or people were different then?
There was definitely more traffic in the early and mid 2010s, and also like more community tipping. Like it's a lot more focused on your regulars now. Like your regulars carry your room, and then you get like new people scattered throughout. And like that's why I left camming like 4 years ago, was because I was making my goals, but I was not happy with the same 4 to 6 people making my goals every night. Like I could just do privates with them. I don't have to do it for a room of 300 people.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. So then have you enjoyed doing Twitch since you started?
Oh, I love Twitch. Yeah. I love being on stream, and which is why I was really sad that camming wasn't working out. Because like my room count was good. Like it was 50 to 100 people, but just no tipping. So like Twitch, like I didn't expect to be tipped on Twitch, so I could just hang out with no stress. And like, you know, the numbers on Twitch are more encouraging because like viewers gets you AdSense. So like,
exactly,
I don't need to have tippers. I can make money with ads.
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly. So like, it's just a different environment, and it's a lot more friendly. There is still, I mean, obviously I look how I look. There's a lot of harassment, but I have really good mods. I never thought I would make as close of friends as quickly as I did. But like my birthday just passed. Almost all of my mods sent me a birthday present. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So, and the people like, is it interesting? Well, I guess because on Twitch, you don't have to worry about getting undressed. You don't have to worry about doing all, you know, any sexual stuff. You can just be sitting there, game, and that's all. And people are just watching you do that. So, I mean, I guess I feel like it's got to be at least, I don't want to say less stressful in that sense, where you're like, I don't have to worry about doing all this stuff. I just go, I play the game, and then people enjoy watching.
It is less stressful for me. I'm sure there are people that would find one or the other more stressful. But like when I was on cam on MFC or Chatterbait, I was like, I want to make as much money as quickly as possible. So being able to just be on Twitch for 6 to 10 hours a day and just hang out is so much less stressful. Yeah.
And considering that now you're making that you can make money more like a passive income where it's like you just do what you do. And then, you know, hopefully you get enough people watching that eventually the AdSense kicks in. And then it's like you don't even have to worry about, you know, if you've got like, do you get to interact with the people?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm very, like, that's a comment I get a lot, is that I am very attentive to chat compared to other people that have like the same viewer count as me. And like, I don't know, that's why I stream, is to interact with chat. Like that's the most fun part for me. Cause like I wasn't playing video games in my spare time before I did Twitch. Like I would play new games when they came out, but mostly I was watching YouTube. So this is the most video games I've played probably since I was a teenager.
Really?
So like, yeah. So it's the chat interaction that I like the most. Like I like meeting people. I like interacting with people, and doing it on the internet is just where I'm the most comfortable doing it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, and that's the thing. So now that because you're going to this convention and I mean, are you going to be okay, you know, being in
Yeah. I'm very comfortable. Like I said, I've been going to conventions since I might have started when I was 12. So I'm very used to.
But this is a post-COVID convention. So that's the difference.
We're taking, so not only are we masking, we have antiviral nose spray, mouthwash that is said to kill COVID virus, and eye drops that kill COVID virus. Okay. So we are doing that.
You got all this stuff. Okay.
Every 4 to 6 hours, we're redoing all of our hole protection.
Yeah.
Plus masking. So I won't be hugging people. I won't be giving high fives. We can elbow bump. Like but like, we went to Disney for Christmas last year and we were fine. So
that's it's just, I know that nowadays it's a different situation. So like going to big conventions, being really close to people. Like I was at AVN this past year, and
was it crazy?
Yeah, it was busy. It was the first AVN I'd actually gone to, and just how close everybody was, and I just it like, you know, it just all the bodies, and it was, you know, and everything like that. So it was and I don't think I'd been in an environment like that since COVID happened. So
yeah.
It was
this is our first convention.
Yeah.
So
and that's what I'm saying. So yeah. So even though being the convention veteran that you are,
it's
you know,
still
it's going to be a kind of a different experience, but it's not. I mean, it looks like, so it's interesting because it seems like with this. Because like when you go to anime conventions and comics, you have a lot of people dressed in cosplay. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of people like that here.
I know there are people coming in costume, but they also have like a strict no prop policy. Like basically like I don't even think foam props are allowed. Like it's basically like just outfits. Like no props are allowed at all because they're like weapons.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I guess I can understand that to an extent, but I know that they also do. I forgot what the game convention here. It's usually in the beginning of the year. But
I can't think of the name of it either.
yeah. So, but I mean, there's so many conventions here all the time. It just starts to blur.
Yeah,
because
I'm sure it must be crazy living here.
It can be, and the fact, and we've got, I don't know if you saw coming in though, a lot of the stuff for Formula One that they're doing. All the construction.
I saw all the roads are like messed up. Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
Our Uber driver had to like drive in a circle like twice to figure out how to get into the hotel. It was so funny.
Yeah, and and it's like. I get it. It's cool for the city to have as an event, but when you live here, it's just a giant. It's
annoying.
So okay. So you didn't. So it's interesting. So you weren't really a gamer then before you started doing.
Oh no,
or you are.
Yeah. No,
okay.
I've played video games since. I mean, I didn't start very young. I started with the GameCube, which came out in 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, close to that. Yeah.
And I played it a lot. I was a huge GameCube person. I wasn't so much a Wii person. I didn't like the Wiimote, but then I was a huge Wii U person, which is funny because everyone hates the Wii U. So I've been a Nintendo person my whole life. I was never really a computer game person. I had a PlayStation 2, 3, and 4, but like I only had like a couple games for each of them. I've never had an Xbox, which people are like, please play Call of Duty. And I'm like, I don't have an Xbox.
Oh, is Call of Duty an Xbox? I mean,
it's on
exclusive?
PlayStation 2, but like everyone has it on Xbox.
Okay,
we actually borrowed my spouse's brother's Xbox so that we could play Banjo-Kazooie on Rare Replay, and that was really fun because that's like a classic Nintendo 64 game that I never grew up playing.
So yeah, I'll say this. No hostility, but I grew up a Sega person.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny how back then, because I'm a little older than you, not much, but a little. But like at the time, the first I ever had was a Sega Saturn, but like my brother had the Sega Master System, and then he had the Genesis, which was like a game changing console. But yeah, it was just funny how back then, 30 years ago, it was Sega Nintendo was the main rivalry.
Yeah,
and then. Fast forward, now it's PlayStation, Xbox has been the rivalry for the last 20 plus years.
But then there are people who are Nintendo people.
Yeah, well, and there's still that now. I almost feel like it's I don't want. I mean, forgive me. I don't mean to be in dismiss or anything like that because I don't know, but it just seems like Nintendo is more of a like they're game developers still, but they don't do consoles as like they're not as console focused.
I don't know what's going on. If they're like obviously they're always working on a new console, but they haven't announced anything about Switch 2. So we don't know anything. But the Switch is still like a very good console. Like I don't know if you played Tears of the Kingdom, but it is a huge game. Like it is massive. There is so much to do. Like I think we have almost 100 hours in it, and we are not even halfway through the story. Like we might be we might be about halfway through the story, and we have like 100 hours in it. Like it is, it's massive.
So do you prefer then? I'm curious then. What kind of games do you prefer? Games that have a story that you play through, or do you prefer like open world like World of Warcraft style games where you just kind of?
So I grew up playing mostly fantasy games, but now I really like farming sims.
Okay.
Like I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley. And piercings.
Wet and long hair.
Yes. The Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life just came out, which is a remake of Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, which was a GameCube game, and it was my favorite farming sim growing up, so I played that a bunch. This new game came out on, I think, everything. It's called Paleo Pines. It's a dinosaur farming sim.
Okay.
So I've just been playing a lot of farming sims, but we tried to switch it up for October. We're playing all like creepy or horror games for October. So I've been getting out of that. But then again, of course, I started playing Cult of the Lamb, which is a cult farming sim. So I play a lot of farming sims now. I like other games. It's just, they're just very easy to play for a long time.
Well, and I don't know. I think sim games can be very relaxing in ways, like because
they're easy to interact with chat while you play.
Yeah. Like I've never been a huge gamer in my life. Like when I was in high school, I had a PS2, PS1, stuff like that. And the PS2 was actually the last console I ever got. But I would get so angry playing, especially fighting games.
Yeah.
Because, you'd be pressing the buttons as fast fast as you could, and you're still losing to the computer.
Yeah.
And so like I broke some controllers because I would throw them just because I got so angry. But I was thinking to myself, why am I getting so angry about this? This is a video game. It should be fun. I
don't want to get angry.
I don't want to get this angry about this. And I'm like, I'm gonna have a heart attack at like 20.
Yeah.
So, but sim games, like my favorite has always been ever since. I mean, and I still like to play it, which is a Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh yeah,
which is a classic. You know, which it was ported for iPad, which I was really excited about a few years ago.
Yeah.
So you could download the whole game, which because it never came out for Mac, and I always had Macs.
Right.
So or I had Macs as I got older. But yeah, I mean, sim games just I don't know. Yeah, they're just very relaxing,
they're chill.
and you don't have to, as you said, you don't have to be hyper focused on it the whole time. So, but all right, so like when you went to these other conventions, like the anime convention, stuff like that, would you dress up or would you just have like, you'd have an outfit that you'd wear, but it wasn't like a character? I
have cosplayed, but for several years in my late teens and early 20s, I did the Japanese fashion Lolita, I was very into it, like $1,000 outfits.
Wow.
And like everything from one specific brand, like branded head to toe.
Okay.
I was very into it. I kind of got a little infamous in the community because I was really mean back then. I was very depressed and I took it out on everyone else.
Oh, okay.
So, it's really cool looking back at the pictures from then, but it's not like, I know there are still people who think of me as that person, and I feel bad because I know I was really mean back then.
Have you been able to maybe try to get, like, I don't know if there was a way to give out an apology or something to just say like, I'm sorry. I mean, just maybe not a
I've thought about doing that because like, I don't look at them, but like there are drama forums that still like follow my internet career and talk about me. And so I think about that, but I'm just like, I don't even know what I'd say because like I know none of the people on the forums are the people that I was mean to. They're just people who followed the internet drama. So like I don't even know what I should do about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, not to say that there was anything you should do. I was just asking if it was something that you would.
I've thought about it.
Yeah, thought about it because we look back on ourselves and I think I saw something the other day saying if like it was a post that I'm probably going to get it wrong, but they said if you don't look back on things of your past and cringe, that means that you didn't grow. You haven't grown as a person. Which I'm like, man, I'd like to think I've grown a lot then because there's a lot of things I cringe about.
I try not to say I'm embarrassed of who I was, but I feel bad for who I was because like I was hurting so much that I made it everyone else's problem, and I feel like I like that person because they got me to here, but I feel bad that they had to go through that to get to here. Like
going through a gauntlet, trial by fire kind of thing. But but we are the sum of our lives up to these points. Yeah. So I mean, you feel like people can try to, sometimes people want to dwell on the past thinking like about this, but it's like all we have is what's ahead of us.
Exactly.
So it can be, but I mean, and it sounds though that like, cause I saw your post about saying like you made it to 31 on your birthday and everything like that. And it seemed like it was for you, it was a big thing. It was a big thing.
Yeah. No, so, I had several major attempts growing up. Like one was so bad that I straight up asked the doctor, like, am I going to make it through the night? And he said, we don't know. So like, I might not be here today if things had gone just slightly differently. Yeah. So like, I'm very grateful to be 31. Like people are always like, oh, you don't look 31. I'm like, no, I want to look 31. I'm 31 now. Yeah. I want to be old. Like I didn't think I'd make it here. I like being 30.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And the great thing is that it seems like you're in a much better place now.
Oh, so much better. Yeah.
And that's wonderful because, because I mean, adolescence is hard.
Oh my God.
It's such a hard thing to do. Yeah. And I mean, now granted, I was lucky, and I mean, even though you're a little younger than I am, but like to not have social media in like middle school, high school, like the way it is now. Right. Like when I was in high school, like AIM was the most popular thing. Yeah. And so we had, and you had, AOL accounts and, maybe Yahoo chats and stuff like that. But there was no Facebook. There was no, even MySpace didn't exist until I got into college.
I had MySpace in high school. So like there's so much drama on MySpace.
Yeah, but I can't imagine being a teenager now. No. Trying to grow up in an environment where like, say you have a classmate that's like an influencer or like has a huge following on social media, and
it's so much pressure.
Yeah.
Like I feel pressure to gain followers on social media. I can't imagine how 13-year-olds who have because all 13-year-olds know someone who has an internet following. So like they must feel like, well, why don't I have an internet following?
Yeah.
And like no kid should feel like that.
Well, and the thing is children's mental health, I feel like can be so fragile because they're still developing as people. And I mean, mental health is hard enough as you get older, but like I wish that there were more resources out there, and I hope that things are created now for like for younger people to be like, hey, just because you don't have a lot of followers doesn't mean that makes you any less of a person, doesn't make you less valuable, just don't measure yourself by that.
Right. Yeah.
Because now there's an actual quantifiable way people can say, oh, well, I have 500,000 followers. So obviously I'm better than you. Yeah. I'm a bigger, more important person than you are.
Yeah.
So, and it's and life is, but and that's actually one thing I'm wondering if because I know you said that you can talk about this all day, which is all the body modifications, which will eventually lead into the boobs. So when did you start doing that?
I started getting piercings when I was either 13 or 14. I basically laid it out to my parents, like, you can take me to a professional to get this done, or I will do it myself. And they opted for the professional. So by the time I was 17, I had over 20 ear piercings.
Okay. They don't limit you under 18?
No. Parent consent. Anywhere on the ear. Okay. Yep, anywhere on the ear.
But just the ears, though, then?
Ears, I think nose is allowed at 14 and belly button is allowed at 16, but I wasn't. There was a Japanese rock star that had like hoops all down his ear, and so I just became obsessed with ear piercings.
Okay.
So I wanted really decked out ears.
Nice. All right. And what was it about doing that you just like the look of it, or you liked?
I mean, I've just like always been alternative. Like the first movie I ever saw was a Batman movie. Nightmare Before Christmas was my thing. I have a picture of me as like a 4 or 5 year old in a bat costume that like when you lift your arms, like umbrella wires like make the wings out and stiff. Like I just have always been into alternative stuff. So like
Tim Burton was a big influence.
Yeah, Tim Burton was a big influence.
Okay. Yeah, because his Batman films are still like very,
some of the best.
Yeah. Well, they're very it's interesting to look at them now for how many iterations Batman's gone through. And
they're very distinct.
Yeah, they're a very distinct style, back then. Because nowadays superhero films are so just everywhere.
Just over the top.
And then they just all blend together. It's hard to really, I think, put a stamp on them.
I do that all the time. Like people are like, oh, have you seen this? I'm like, yeah, but I don't know from the difference of any of the other 4 that have come out. Like I have no idea.
And so whereas like, Batman and Batman Returns just have a very strong...
They're very visually, like, they're campy, but still dark. And like, that's like my gig. Like I love like high camp, high fantasy, but still like edgy and gothy.
Okay. So did you have that kind of so you had that kind of goth style when you were going through high school? Oh my gosh,
yeah. I was a sweatshirt and trip pants goth in middle school and high school. And then I got into the J fashion. So I started doing like Japanese street fashion as I was exiting high school. And then the year I dropped out of high school was when I got my first full like branded Lolita outfit, and then I started just doing that like very heavily.
Okay. All right. And then so when did the tattoos start?
I actually never thought I would get tattoos. I just had no interest in them growing up, and then I had a long-term girlfriend who did not like tattoos, so I was like, oh yeah, I also don't like tattoos. And then we broke up, and I was like, maybe I do like tattoos. So I thought I would get like a tattoo in like a few body spots, like very specific, like this body part, like one tattoo each body part. And then I just kept getting them.
Just kind of get
it just kept happening.
So I'm curious now, do you have a count, or is it like at this point they're so blended together it's hard to know?
I tried to count. I did a tattoo tour on my YouTube a couple months ago, and I tried to count, but then I realized like every time I thought the list was finished, I'd remember another tattoo and put it on there. So it's somewhere between 60 and 70, somewhere.
And do you feel like, because obviously there's some that like every inch of their body is just covered. That's
my goal. Yeah.
So you do want to get to that
I want a
point.
bodysuit. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because like I didn't plan any of my tattoos, so like as you can see my arm, like it's all disconnected, like so I don't know how I'm gonna connect it to make it a bodysuit, but that's what I want. I want like as much as full coverage as I can get.
Yeah, which you know, and I mean, I just, you know, the amount of time and everything like that is, well, and it looks like the one that's right on your chest, is it fading?
Yeah, I'm getting laser on it so I can get a new tattoo over it.
Okay, and I mean, I'm wondering if the removal, I've heard the removal process is actually more painful than the tattooing process.
The place I go uses prescription strength numbing. I could not get through it without that. My last session on my chest literally felt like being poked with a bobby pin. It was so comfortable. Okay. But like I was also trying to lighten the one on my back, and I got through the first session. It took an entire hour because it is a third of my back. And I was like, okay, as long as it's like that, I can handle it. Went for my second session, could not do 10 minutes. So now I'm just going to do a really dark black blast over on my back. And like, I just, if you can see the old tattoo through it, oh well. But like, because like behind your ear, you can put numbing cream up there, but you can't like stick anything over it to like get it to stay there for the 2 hours that it's supposed to sit. So it just dries out. Yeah. It hurt so bad to not have numbing, just that little bit behind my ear. I just like, I was over it. I don't know how people do it without numbing. Like it is horrible.
Masochists.
Oh,
maybe?
Absolutely. like just those are people that like can just focus on their breathing and go to their happy place. And I am not that person.
And have you seen, because I know that like when like Yakuza Japanese style tattooing where they're actually like poking you with that, which I've heard is kind of the craziest.
I've heard that that's very painful. I've never had a stick and poke or a hand poke tattoo, but I've heard it's very painful. Yeah. But also, I saw a video that was very interesting of a tattoo artist using a machine and then also hand poked. And the machine side looked very muddy and like mixed with blood, but the hand poked side was so vibrant and beautiful because like it's so much less trauma that it just puts the ink in without tearing up the skin. So like the tattoos come out amazingly if you can sit through it. Well,
and the thing is because Japanese people, like they're so dedicated to whatever craft they do. Like, you know, it's an amazing thing that if this is what they like, they'll apprentice, they'll go through like, so the point where they are the best people to do this. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this job for a couple of years and then do something else.
My brother is actually getting his master's in Japan right now, and we are going for his graduation, and I am trying so hard to get tattooed while I'm there. I really want a tattoo by this artist that does like all really sexy anime girls. Okay. It's going to be probably the longest tattoo I've ever sat for because I have to do it in one sitting. But like, it's just been my dream to get tattooed in Japan. Like,
have you been to Japan before?
Yeah, I've been twice. Okay. Yeah, because my brother's been going to school there. He went for one semester for his bachelor's, and then now he's back for his master's.
Okay. Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
It's amazing.
Like it's so different from being here. And oh
my God, people always ask me like, do people in Japan like dislike you because of how you look? And I'm like, they literally don't look at me. No one cares.
Well, and the Japanese also like they're such a polite people.
They won't comment.
Even if they don't like you, they won't let you know. They won't. You know, when I was there, I think I maybe got like 1 or 2 dirty looks from somebody, but that was just
right.
You know, I mean, I think they were
You're
older.
You're a tall white guy. It's a little intimidating.
Well, and also like when I was there, you know, I'm also kind of I'm bigger. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm fat, although there are days I feel that way. But like going to a country where most people are very thin and very you know, much
I don't
even
fit in the clothes in Japan. So
so like when I got a kimono for my mom, like they didn't have sizes at the kimono store. It's just a one size. Now luckily my mom's very petite, so she matched with their sizing. Yeah. But it was just, but I mean, again, I mean, the country, it's such a, like you go there because you go to major cities here like New York or LA.
They're dirty.
And they're dirty and they're loud.
Mean.
Yeah. They're very, whereas Tokyo, you wouldn't think that this was one of the largest cities in the world with the most people.
You can be walking around and there are people literally everywhere, and yet you can just have a conversation with the person next to you without raising your voice. Cause like everyone is so speaking at a reasonable tone that you don't have to yell over the crowd.
Yep. Nobody's on their phones
nobody's
loud,
on their
like,
phone. No.
you know, walking around talking loudly. It's probably the most amazing place I've ever been.
I love it.
So, you know, yeah, it sounds like, and for you to be able to be there, you know, you'll be your third time is incredible. So, then, okay, so I have to ask you about this because I've never met somebody that has this, but the tongue.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen that, and it just makes me. What was it that you thought? I want to split my tongue in half.
Yeah, so I went to, I think it was in either New York or California. I went to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum when I was like 11 or 12, and I saw a wax figure of the lizard man, and he has like 90-some% of his body tattooed green with scales, and he has like horn implants and like fangs, and he had a split tongue, and I was just like, I want to be the goth version. I mean, not that lizards aren't goth, but like
no. But he did it more to feel like
he's doing a specific look.
As opposed to doing it for the sake of doing it. Now, who does that? Who do you go to have that get done?
So it is not technically legal, so I'm not going to say, but they are a body mod artist that travels.
Okay.
I mean, he posts about it publicly on his social media, so like. I don't know the rules, but I don't want to say.
No, I'm not asking you for a name. I'm just saying,
it's just a body mod artist. They just travel and they do different body modifications that are technically surgery, but
and that's what I'm saying. It seems like that would be a doctor thing.
Yeah, but doctors won't do it because it's considered like disfiguring yourself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Most doctors won't even repair it because they just don't know how. But like. Every body mod artist that knows how to split a tongue knows how to repair a tongue. Okay. So you can get it. Yeah, you can get it undone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How? And I mean, I don't. How does that process work then? Would they stitch it up?
They damage the sides enough and then stitch it back together, and it heals back together like normal.
Interesting, man. The human body.
Crazy.
It's interesting.
People are always like, "Oh, do you regret X, Y, or Z? Are you gonna like that when you're 60?" I'm like, I can just undo it. Like there's nothing that's that permanent. I have one tattoo that I can't get lasered off, like one.
Okay.
And like otherwise if I wanted to, I could remove my whole body of tattoos. Like I don't want to.
Yeah, but, you wouldn't.
Yeah. But like it's an option.
Yeah. So, because I'm sorry for. I hope I'm not asking silly questions.
Oh no.
Just because I like to learn and everything like that. So do you feel like you've got two separate tongues then?
No.
It still feels like just one.
It definitely felt weird when I got it, but I've had it for like 4 or 5 years now, so it just feels. I mean, I can feel that there's movement. Like I can feel that both sides of my tongues move in my mouth. Like when I talk, it doesn't feel like one movement. It feels like two wiggling.
Yeah, all right.
I can feel both sides.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like for your partner, if it was just like a thing the first time he kissed or they kissed you about it, it was just like that was interesting.
Well, I'm not really a makeout person, so
really?
I'm not a like that's like the thing. Like I got my tongue modified, but I don't like tongue action. Like I know. I feel like the texture of another person's tongue is just very weird to me. Like my partner will lick me sometimes and I'm like, oh, just don't do that. Like I just don't like the texture of tongues.
And that's funny because you love cats and cats
cat tongue. I love cat tongues. They feel nice. Also my dogs. I don't mind dog tongue. Human tongue, I think because it's like thicker. There's like more pressure behind it.
Well, because there's a muscle there, I think.
It's a muscle. Well, I mean, dog and cat tongues are also muscles, but they're very thin. But like a human tongue is like, it's like a wet finger. I don't like it. It's very weird.
That's funny. That's awesome. Never heard it described like that.
I don't, it's been a thing, like, I have autism, so, like, textures just can really bother me, and that's just one of the textures that I've never been able to get used to.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Because I saw this video the other day on Twitter, which I can't call it X. I mean, I never will. It's a letter. No. It's not a name. It's a letter.
Stupid.
Anyway, but I saw, like, this, a woman with a tongue, same thing, and she was eating ramen, and then her tongue,
she grabbed it and pulled it in.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that was like a whole thing. Like people were like, everyone with a split tongue was making that video, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that, so I didn't try, but I should try just to see if I can do it.
I was just like, it threw me. I was like,
it's very interesting. Oh. There are people that have such precise control with their tongues that is like really amazing. Like I followed this other body mod artist that does everything, and he will post healed videos of his clients, and they'll just be doing like crazy tongue dances, and I'm just like, that I don't know how you teach yourself how to do that. Like I can't figure out muscle isolation in my tongue. I haven't put that much effort into it, but like I'm just not good at muscle isolation in general. So like I haven't tried.
It makes me think of when people that can like tie cherry stems with their tongues. I'm like, I'm wondering
people
if they're separate.
Yeah, like people who are very dexterous with their tongue pre-operation are usually very, very good at it post-operation.
Yeah. So I'm curious, are there any kind of other modifications at this point that you haven't done that you're interested in or curious about?
I keep going back and forth if I want butt implants or BBL, but like every time I have a friend go through it, they're like, oh, you can't sit for a month. And then after that, you can only sit for a few hours for a while. And I'm like, well, I can't lay on my stomach. Yeah. So how would I
lay on your side to play?
So I don't know. And also like butt implants are like extremely painful because unlike breast implants, it goes under the entire muscle and they sew the muscle around the implant. So you're stretching an entire muscle instead of just the top of a muscle.
Okay.
So I want a bubble butt, but do I want to go through what it takes? I'm like, I'm just going to get my whole butt tattooed anyway. Are you even going to be able to tell that it's bigger?
Well, I mean, is there a certain recovery time, like a few months, that by the time like you're fully with a BBL?
I don't know what the healing time is like for a BBL, but like they say like for a butt implant to go totally back to normal, it takes like a whole year.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a whole year before you're like back to 100% normal. And I'm just like, do I really want to feel like that for a year?
For a year, yeah.
I talked to this one model that's had, I think, her butt done 3 times. And, oh my God, so annoying. Oh my God. But yeah, she's like, it's the hardest surgery I've ever gone through. Okay. So I just, like, if she's saying that and she's done it 3 times, I trust her opinion.
Sure. Yeah. Which, I mean... Yeah, and it definitely seems like with something like that, you have to weigh those options.
But like every time one of my friends gets it and then they post like 2 or 3 months out, I'm like, damn, that looks so good. Like, I want that, but like, I don't want to go through the 2 or 3 months to get there.
Yeah, right. No,
like, can I just go to sleep for 2 or 3 months?
I had another guest on the show. Her name was Ariel Aquinas, and she was talking about that, how, when she got her boobs done, it's like she wants to get them done bigger, but that she was like, I just don't want to go through the recovery. So it's like, can I, again, like she just said exactly what you said, which is, can I go to sleep for a few months and then wake up? I basically
do. When I've gotten my boobs done twice, and I like the first time I got them done, I think I slept for a week, and the second time I got them done, I slept for like 3 days.
Okay. So I'm curious then, like, because obviously you have a very distinct look to you, and people, do you tend to surprise people because they think you're going to be a certain way, and then you actually end up being,
Yeah, people tell me all the time that they think I'm going to be really mean, which like
sounds like from your history that's not totally unreasonable. I definitely
was. Yeah. But I definitely have, like, I have very arched eyebrows, and they're tattooed on, so they're very dark. So like I can look like I'm glaring most of the
Oh wow. Okay.
So I can look like I'm glaring most of the time, and also like I said, I'm autistic, so I don't always respond to social situations the way people think I'm going to. So like I can think something's funny, I'm not going to laugh out loud. It is very rare for me to like find something funny enough that I will laugh really hard, or like I'll smile and whatever, but like like most people will be like laughing, and I'll just be standing there like, haha, that's funny. Yeah. And so people will be like, oh, why is she so mean and standoffish? Yeah. And I'm like, I promise I'm not. I don't feel
what.
Yeah, I just don't react to things. Like, I mean, I don't remember what it's called, but I had the type of depression where you find no joy in anything for like 10 years. Yeah. So I'm still learning how to like things again.
Sure.
So like, I don't react to things the way people expect me to. So a lot of people think that I seem really mean until they start to talk to me. And then they're like, oh, okay.
Well, and I feel like maybe being on Twitch is something that can help, because if you're on Twitch and you interact with people, they can actually see you interacting. Like, I'll be honest, when I asked you to be on the show, and because I haven't watched any of your stuff, I haven't seen. So I was just curious. I'm like, what's she gonna be like?
Yeah.
Because I mean, not that I thought you were gonna be unpleasant or anything. I just wasn't sure.
A lot of people think like, oh, if you look like that, you have to be hardcore, and I'm like, I'm not.
No.
Like, I'm a kittens and puppies girl. Pink is my favorite color, other than black, which is a shade, so that doesn't count.
They go well together, though.
Yeah, they do go well together. Like, I've had a princess bedroom my entire life with like white furniture and like a 4-post bed, and like I'm very girly. I just really like gothic stuff. Yeah. So
do you think Edward Scissorhands is one of the most romantic movies?
Oh my God, yes. Absolutely.
I had a feeling are you crying every time at the end? Every time? Yeah. The moment in that movie that always gets me is when Vincent Price's character dies as he's giving the hands to him, and then he basically cuts through his hands.
Them.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the metaphor I feel like for that, and it's but it's a beautiful film.
Yeah,
and Johnny Depp like really cornered the mark. I mean, with that and other, like his Tim Burton, him and Tim Burton, I almost feel
they
like
work well together.
Yeah, they were a great. They're like a De Niro, DiCaprio with Scorsese kind of pairing. So with Ed Wood and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Dark Shadows.
Oh, I love all of them. Like I can do a Tim Burton Johnny Depp movie marathon any day. Like there's not a single one that I dislike.
Yeah, no, and what's great though is being in a position where people can see you as who you are, and that's also one of the reasons why I'm doing the show, is because to have people on the show that they think I want to try to dispel certain ideas that people have or stereotypes.
Think that, oh, big boob model, you must be like so hypersexualized. Not saying I'm not, but I'm not all the time.
No,
and like stuck up and plastic surgery obsessed and blah blah blah. And it's like, I like all those things, but it's not like that's my life 24/7. Like I still go to the grocery store and take my dogs for a walk, and like I'm a normal person most of the time. I just also make content on the internet.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is because, again, boobs that are as large as yours are, which not very common, but the fact that I'm sure people are fascinated.
Yeah.
Just being like,
that's the number one comment I get on Twitch, and I just like, I can't respond to it because I can't get into talking about it. Are they real? And I'm just like, so many. I don't know if they're asking.
Think they're real?
I don't know if they're asking, are they natural or is it a breastplate? Or I don't know what they mean, but I can't ask them to clarify because I can't get into that on Twitch. Like, not that it's against the rules to talk about plastic surgery. I try and keep my chat not focused on that.
Sure.
So I can't respond to it. I can't interact with it. So like, I always want to know though. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, are you asking if I grew them? Are you asking if it's, cause like some people just straight up think I'm like an AI filter. Like they think they think I'm just like a person with a filter doing this.
Okay.
And I'm just like,
well, I mean, well, today it's hard to know now with AI stuff. Like, I'll see stuff online and I'll think to myself, is that person real, or is this an AI modification of a person? Which, and it's like, to me, that's. It's getting like, I don't know. It's starting to get really kind of weird
creepy.
to me. It's creepy.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, like I don't like this thing in movies now too, where they're de-aging actors to play themselves younger.
Have someone younger play it. Like they don't need to look exactly the same. No. It's weird.
Like the first time I saw that was Tron Legacy, where they had Jeff. I don't know if you saw it, but
I saw it.
Where it shows in the 80s. And he, Jeff Bridges was computerized to look like himself. It's like, okay. Did you have to do it that way?
No, you don't have to do that.
You could have gotten an actor that looked like him and then just dubbed the voice of Jeff Bridges. They've done that in movies before if you wanted to have him still sound like Jeff Bridges. And now that's one of the big things going on with the SAG-AFTRA strike right now is because they don't want
AI generated content.
Whether they're background actors, which are, they're not making basically any money. But like I remember a few years ago, George Lucas was talking about after he had basically moved on from Lucasfilm, he's like, I want to focus on creating new movies with AI versions of older actors. So like putting, say, Humphrey Bogart and Audrey Hepburn in a movie together now as young people,
So
I'm like,
weird.
that doesn't work.
The families of those deceased people own the rights to their image so
their
they
likeness,
can sell it. And like Like, I'm definitely making a living will that says no one can do that to me. I do not want AI generated content of me after I'm deceased. Like, that is so, like, it just feels like violating. Like, it feels really disrespectful.
Well, you're not letting the person rest.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm still trying to make money off of your likeness after you're gone.
It's weird. I don't like it at all.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't like this idea that bringing stuff like that's another problem that I have, because it's like you're focusing on the past. You're focusing on people that had their time. They were stars in their time.
Yeah. There's so many young actors that can't get their name out there because they're focusing on bringing back people that were already famous.
Yeah.
And like, that sucks.
And yeah, and it's like I don't. It's just, it's not real. This person can't exist. So I feel like you can't get on board with it.
I don't get into it. Like, if I I watched what was it called, Alien Invasion or something on Disney Plus, the Marvel
Secret Invasion,
and like the whole intro was AI generated, and it just left a bad taste in my mouth for the entire episode, because like, it doesn't look good. It looks weird because your brain knows it's not real.
Exactly.
So like, your brain is like, has a visceral reaction to it, and you have to like suspend your disbelief just to be able to interpret that information.
Well, and they've shown that when we know something's not real, we don't connect to it because we know it's not real. That's why, for instance, old like practical effects in movies, when they used to use, like, again, so we'll go back to the Tim Burton Batman. There was no CGI in those movies. So all the stunts they did were real stunts, or they used models, or they so when you see the Batwing flying in the sky, that's a real model flying in, on a set somewhere.
Yeah, on a scale set. Yeah.
And so, but you think, okay, it's a model, but it's something that's real.
But you can see it.
It's got texture to it. It's got because CG, it's like, and I don't get why people think that CG at this point is so much better, because
I don't like it.
You just think to yourself, what would look more real? The real thing. Yeah. Just get the real thing.
I was so into theater makeup and practical effects growing up. Like, Planet of the Apes was my shit. I really wanted to go into that. I really wanted to do makeup for movies. And like, I know they still do like full body prosthetic makeup, but then they just CG over it. So what's the point?
Well, and I'm not a huge horror fan. It's not my favorite genre, but one of my favorite horror films is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Love The Thing.
Because those effects still are crazy to me. Like, the movie's 40 years old now, but there are still moments in that movie that still genuinely are terrifying because of just the effects that they did. And I'm like, again, this was all practically done. And like, the new one came out 12 years ago. That was the prequel, but it was all CG, and you're just like,
it just you don't get into it.
No, it doesn't. Same thing with David Cronenberg's The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, another one that just like the creature effects, the makeup effects were incredible, and that just knowing it's real just completely changes your outlook on it. So but yeah, I don't know. CG's just, I get that some people think it's, and I don't even think it's that easy either, because it takes long.
No,
it takes such a long time to do it.
Yeah. It takes months to render stuff, or not render it, but like
to do
design
it. Well, because video games take years.
Yeah.
They take years to, like, I mean, I think, was it Grand Theft Auto 5 or 6 that's been worked on now for like 10 years or something? Or there are other games, like I think Cyberpunk 2077.
That one was a long
took
time.
a long time to develop, like these, and that's all computer stuff. So but yeah, it's funny to me. But anyway, but I do like, I also, real quick, I just want to, how are the kittens doing?
Oh my gosh, they're so good. Yeah, we they've been staying in our roommate's room because like obviously they were very little. We didn't want them interacting with the dogs, but we have brought them out into the house like a few times while we were doing school, and now we brought them out into the house while we're gone so that they can get used to the house, so that when we get back, we can try and integrate everybody and have it be like a copacetic house. But like, oh my God, their mom is not nursing them anymore. So she's in heat, and she is just so loud.
Really?
Yes. She's just rolling on the floor, meowing, yowling so loud. And it's just like, we can't get her fixed until the kittens are 12 weeks, just in case they do want to nurse. So like, we can't do anything about it. And she's just in heat, and it's just very weird.
All right.
Because like all her babies are there, and she's just trying to get laid, and it's just...
How many kittens were in the litter?
There were 5, but only 3 of them made it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which very good for her though. She's an 8-year-old cat and like indoor, outdoor, or she's all indoor with us. And her previous owner said that normally only 1 of her kittens made it, so 3 is like a big improvement. So she's obviously like she's doing very well at our house.
Oh, that's great. And I'll try to link the GoFundMe.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, thank you.
In the description.
It's just I could not believe how expensive it was it was 1 shot and dewormer.
Okay.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And like the next round is like 3 or 4 shots. So I'm like, oh my God, how much is this going to cost?
And it's amazing. It's crazy. Like that's one of the reasons I'm like, I don't have pets. Because it's an expense.
It's an expense.
Which, I mean, I'm sure that it's worth it. The love that you get, the affection, everything is great. But it's just like, it's
very stressful for like the 2 weeks after I pay for it. And then it's out of my mind. I forget about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So
once your animals are old enough, it's pretty much just like an annual visit to update vaccines. So it's like very manageable. But then when you have 5 animals, it gets a little less manageable.
Sure. So, and yeah, I've had some people on my show that have like lots of animals and different kinds of animals. So you've got dogs, cats, but then like farm style animals,
that's what
like
I
chickens
want.
and pigs.
Like I want to buy a house that's a little further out from the city with land and get like goats and sheep and pigs and chickens. Like that's what I want.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so why don't we like to finish up the show talking about the boobs, if you don't mind?
No, of course.
So, what I find really fascinating is that it seems like there's this kind of big boob goth subculture that has developed now, I think, in the last...
There's a few of us.
Yeah, in the I don't know if it's a more recent thing because obviously huge boobs would always be looked at as more as a, I guess I'll just say a non-goth attribute.
Yeah.
But now it seems like it's becoming a more of a thing. And I don't know, I mean, is that something that...
I mean, like there's like the big titty goth GF trope, but that's usually like a D to F cup situation, not usually like an extra large boob situation. Yeah. But there's like a few of us now that are like heavily tattooed and like, do mostly gothic content.
Well, there's a woman in Spain. Have you seen her?
Yeah, I love her. I love her.
I think her name is like Mommy Lucifera.
Yeah, Luciferia.
Thank you.
She follows me, and it like when she followed me, I was like, oh.
Yeah, she follows me too, which
oh my God, I'm obsessed with her. Like I like, oh my God, I just if
you met her, I would
die. I would literally die. Yeah. No, like I don't fangirl for many people, but like I'm like playing with my hair tie. Like I'm nervous. Like I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah. Well, she's gorgeous. She's
oh my
amazing.
God, she's incredible. I just like. There's just something about the tiny waist with the huge boobs and the tattoos and the long black hair or long white hair. There's I can't remember her name, Adore Kitty or something. Mm-hmm. She's also very heavily tattooed, and she just does like latex corsets and like boobs, and her lips are so big. Oh my God.
When there was Mary Magdalene, she was another one.
Yeah,
I know she's had some.
She downsized, but she just blacked out her entire chest, which I'm like, I might sub to her OnlyFans just to see the blacked out chest, because that's like her boobs are still big. They're still, I think, like either 800 or 1,000, which is still like bigger than a regular implant.
Exactly, yeah.
So like I really want to see what it looks like blacked out, because like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah. So then what was it that like, so did you always like huge, like what did you like huge boobs when you were younger, and you're like, oh, I want that?
I knew I wanted implants from a very young age. I didn't like how my natural breasts look. I just didn't like the shape of them. Mm-hmm. So my first surgery, I asked for like large implants. I said I wanted porn star boobs. And like the surgeon I went to was like award winning, but that was for like women in their mid to late 30s who
Doctors
wanted
can
like
win an award for boobs?
Yeah. He was
or just for his
surgery.
Just the surgery. Okay.
And he did like very
that's
natural
award-winning work.
Yeah.
So
he did very natural boobs. So like I was very disappointed with my first boob job. Everyone thought they were natural. Like they all were like, oh, I didn't even know you had a boob job. So my spouse told me about expanders and about a model who had them. And so I reached out to her and asked her some questions about it. And I think it was like a month and a half later that I booked for it. Mm-hmm.
So
once I learned about them, I had to have them.
So obviously, you're at 4,000 now, and that's 4,000 each side?
Each side.
Okay. And so, I mean, what does that feel? I mean, are they heavy? Like what?
Yeah.
Okay. Because so I will say you have the crown right now for the largest boobs on the show.
Really?
So far.
That's nice.
So, I mean, but then
I just hit 4,000 this month.
Nice. Okay. So then, and those are expanders that you have in there. So, because I've had other people on here that have expanders. So when they first get put in, how big were they?
1,000.
They were 1,000.
Yeah. I went from 650 to 1,000.
Okay. And then, but since that 1,000, when did you get those put in?
2.5 years ago, summer 2.5 years ago.
And how often do you go in for the fills?
Well, I was going in, like, I didn't go for a fill for like the first year that I had them because I was like, that sucked. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But then I went back for a fill and I did a larger fill than my surgery was. So I did 350 for my surgery and then I did 375 for my fill and it was awful. So, I didn't go again for a while and then did I do another 375 after that? Yeah, I think I did another 375 after that and then a 250 after that. And then after that, I started doing small fills because I was like, this is so hard on your body. Like, because mine are under the muscle. So every time I fill, I'm stretching my pectoral muscles.
Okay.
And it's really hard. So I started doing 100 or 150 cc fills. And like those I can still feel, but like only for a day instead of for 2 weeks. So it's just so much more comfortable.
So then when they got to the size, like as they got bigger and bigger and bigger, were you getting happier with them as they kept getting bigger?
Oh my gosh. So like my first 3 fills were noticeably larger every time. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm like bigger. Like I love the post fill extra roundness. Like that's my favorite part. So like, but then as I was doing the hundreds, like I would still like, I'd sit up from the fill. I'd be like, oh yeah, they're heavier and they're rounder again. But I would get used to it so fast. So like, I only noticed that my boobs are significantly bigger when I go back and look at my pictures from like 6 months ago, a year ago. I'm like, oh,
that's so it's interesting.
Like, I've sized up so gradually that like I didn't notice how big they were getting. Like they just look normal to me. Like I look down, I'm like, yeah, they're big, but they're like that's like regular big, right? Like that's normal. And then like it's only like when I look in the mirror before I get in the shower or like turn to the side and like see the whole side profile and how far I stick out that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they're pretty big, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm curious, are you like, do you want to go even larger from here?
Yeah, I have a goal size. Yeah.
Okay. And what would that?
It's a secret.
It's a secret. It's okay. A secret. All right.
But I'm hoping to hit it within the next year.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sure that everybody who loves the boobs will be excited to see you grow. So then like, cause the, what's your favorite thing about them?
The roundness. Like that's
shape.
The thing that I really wanted about like with fake boobs is I wanted that like that super porn starry, perfectly round.
Yeah.
Spherical boobs. Like I wanted like balloons on my chest.
Yeah.
And like that's what I have now. And I think it looks really nice.
No, it does. Like it's amazing how people, because that's another thing is that people are under these impressions that women that get breasts that large, like there's as if like there's like what would you do with boobs that large kind of thing.
I don't even notice them.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously from an aesthetic point they're great to look at.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that, and I mean, when you started going on Twitch, did a lot of people like them?
Yeah. That's like the joke is that people come for the boobs and stay for the vibes. So
that's what I hope for people with the show too. You know, come for the boobs and actually stay for the substance.
Conversation.
Yeah, the conversation, because I mean I like having these great, because you're great to talk to. So
thank you.
It's unfortunate that we only have an hour, but yeah, and I really appreciate the fact that you were able to slot in this time.
Oh my gosh,
I know
I'm so glad that I scheduled to come a day early now, because like this just worked out so perfectly. Like I can't believe I had this opportunity. I'm really grateful.
Yeah, and I just you've been an amazing guest. I'm so happy. Didn't get to a couple of things I want to talk about, like the teeth also, because that was another modification.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you'll ever be back here again for another.
If TwitchCon's in Vegas, I'll be here.
Yeah, or
I might do AVN. I don't know yet, because like OnlyFans doesn't sponsor AVN, and I don't know why. So like you have to make a certain number of tokens on my free cams to get a free ticket to AVN.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to deal with my free cams. I just like let me just come as as an OnlyFans model. Pay for my ticket as an OnlyFans model. I make so much money for OnlyFans. Pay for my ticket.
Yeah,
but they're like, OnlyFans isn't a porn site, so we don't sponsor the porn convention, even though it's literally owned by the same guy that owns My Free Cams.
Yeah.
But he's like,
well, it's weird too because like other ones like Fansly and Loyal Fans are there.
They do, yeah.
They're there, and then like My Free Cams has their whole like
they sponsor the whole convention.
Yeah. So and Chatterbait and things like that.
Chatterbait's not going to be at AVN this year.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just saw a model post about it yesterday. I was like, does anyone know why? What's going on? Nobody knows.
Okay.
But they're not going to be there.
All right. Well, Charlotte, I want to say thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I hope you had a great time.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And I hope you have a wonderful time at TwitchCon. So I know you got a busy few days. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching. And to all of you out there in Huge Boob Land, we'll see you next time.